Hi guys, this is DB Automotive and I'm Brian James. If you've subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. We really do appreciate you. If you've linked here from another place and you like what you see, please hit like and subscribe. Once again, we really appreciate you and any input that you feel free to give us. Now, if you've been waiting for me to do the bus, if you've been watching my other videos, you'll know that that's probably going to start beginning of next year. Up until then, we're doing my Clubman style car. Now, the philosophy of this channel is restore, renew, rebuild. And look, we're all about recycling as well. And so I could have built a brand new kit car, but I chose not to. I chose to rebuild an existing kit car and keep one on the road. Yes, it is going to be modified to suit my tastes, but you expect to do that. Now, what have I done in the past week? Okay, so if you've been following the build of my little car, you'll be interested to know what I've been doing over the past week. So the little black Chevron that I showed you last week, that has now been sold, and that's off to its new owner. So now that frees up finances for me to be able to take this to an auto Sparky and get it wired up and working, and an upholsterer. So what I've been doing is now working on the parts that the auto Sparky will need to be able to get this car running. So the exhaust system has all been bolted in, tightened up. So now that is all in full running mode, including I put a titanium wrap over the exhaust. It keeps the heat to a usable minimum under the bonnet. And with the 4AGEs, what we've got is, and I'll show you this in a second, you've got the exhaust coming right next to the distributor. And if you're going hard out, sometimes you have a tendency to melt the distributor. That's probably not a great thing. Now, one of the other things I did is that I do want to have this wrapped in carbon fiber, but that's probably not going to happen this year and maybe not even next year. So the time crunch that we're working under, I'm going to be using all my time just to get this ready for the Fraser 5000. And even then, I may not be able to make it, but I'm going to try my very best, and you'll be along with me for that ride. So what I've done is that the aluminium was quite heavily corroded, so it had to have something done to it. Now most people would just paint it, so I decided to polish it. It's the cheapest thing I can do. As I say, yes, I've freed up some finances from the sale of the black Chevron, but not that much. So I've still got to be careful with the money and how I spend it. So tell you what, I will grab you and we'll show you what I mean. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's our titanium wrap coming up into the engine bay. Now, as you can see, there's less than a finger space between my distributor and the headers. So that's why I've got the titanium wrap on here. And what we'll also be looking at doing is putting a heat shield in between it as well. Just something that'll come right along and keep the heat down. So, and yep, look, we've got all that bolted in now. So the super traps all now ready and bolted in and ready to go. Now, as you can see, we've got sort of a reflection on the aluminium, as opposed to, we come around here, that's what it did look like. So that's sort of filthy and, in my mind, unacceptable. For a little bit of elbow grease, we've now got a semi-shiny surface. And so, you know, that's taken quite a lot. When I sold the Chevron, I had to make sure that they had a wind deflector and windscreen, and so I've given them one of my square ones. I will be ordering another one. Luckily I can, but in the meantime I'll just use the half round. Unfortunately it's got a big crack through them. You need to remind people that they don't move those by grabbing the top glass. They have to undo the little side wing nuts first, because if you grab them by the top glass and try and pull them down, it's going to break, unfortunately. Okay, let's put you back and we'll pretty much run. That's the end of the day for us. So that's it for the work that's been done this week. Now, it doesn't seem a lot, and it isn't, but it's small steps, and even small steps forward are still steps forward. So what am I going to be doing next week? Well, hopefully next week I can get this into the Auto Sparky and he can start wiring it up. So I won't be doing anything. So while we are up at the Auto Sparky, once he gets this up and running, I will then get it to Auto Upholsterer and we'll get the tawny cover done and a decent squab made for the driver's seat where it can raise up a little bit so my hips aren't touching the side or aren't getting dug into the side of the seat. So yeah, it means I'll have to come up a little bit, but it's better that than having fiberglass rub against your hips, which is ultra painful. Then we've just got to bolt in the floor. So I will be delivering it to the Auto Sparky without a floor. That way he can get up and under the dash and it makes life a lot easier for him. Look, if you can, try and make life easier for people that are working on your car, because why make it hard for them? You know, it just doesn't make sense. And in the end, I believe it'll hurt you, because he's going to take, if he has to crawl under the dash, and let's face it, there's not a lot of room in these things, it's going to take him a lot of time. Well, you're paying for that time. If it means not putting in the floor and he can just put it up on a hoist and he has instant access to under the dash, why wouldn't you do it? So once I get it back, we'll bolt in the floor, and then I shall be working on just the small bits and pieces, the final fettle, and probably trying to get the speedo sorted. Yeah, so other than that, we're getting close to actual starting it up and test driving it. Now, with the brakes being bled, the clutch working, that takes a load off my mind. There's been no leaks appearing underneath the car over the past month or so, so I think that's fairly good. I'm afraid, I am worried though, that because this motor hasn't been started in 9 or so years, I may need to replace the water pump. It may have dried out and the seals may have cracked. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Hey, look, you guys have a great day. Thank you for taking your time to watch the video till this stage, and you have a great week. Thank you very much.